Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, March 8th. Boston City Council President Kim Janey is our guest. Let's go on the record. She's the point person for the most diverse city council in the hub's history. Can she bring inclusion to a city that's changing by the day?
Make no mistake about it, I can fight, but look, we need as badly, someone who can heal.
Rise of the moderates. Joe Biden's Super Tuesday surprise creates a two-person race with Elizabeth Warren out of the picture.
Election 2020 and women candidates. We get some thoughts.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to OTR. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Janet Wu. Great to have you with us this morning. And our guest this morning is the president of the Boston City Council, Kim Janey. She's a Democrat. She became city council president at the start of the year. She was first elected to the council in 2018 from the 7th District. Previous to the council, she worked as a senior project director at Massachusetts Advocates for Children. She holds a bachelor's degree from Smith College. It is wonderful to have you with us this morning. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here on a Sunday morning. You're a progressive, you're a woman politician. When you see what happened on Super Tuesday, not only here in Boston, but also in Massachusetts and in 13 other states, does it sort of give you pause about the changes that you're hoping to make?
No, I think it just re-energizes me. So when we see what is happening in Washington, D.C., and the harmful, dangerous policies that put not only individual residents in my district at risk, but our entire nation at risk, it only fuels my desire to do more at the local level.
But do you think America is ready for the big changes that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren have been talking about for months now?
Well, there certainly is a desire from many of the people who support them, and certainly here in Boston we know that there are a lot of progressives who support the message from Bernie Sanders as well as Elizabeth Warren, and we want to see change. The people that I represent need to see change because this is a life or death issue for many of the people that I represent. When we look at all of the disparities in District 7, it's really important that we have leadership at the local level as well as at the national level that will focus on closing the gaps that we see.
Which are all important. But the next item I want to talk about is coronavirus, because that's the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what color you are. It affects everybody. It's become a dominant issue in the minds of everyone. So do you think we're striking the right balance between cautioning people without alarming them unnecessarily?
I think at the local level we are here in Boston. We are focused on being prepared, making sure that residents have the appropriate information, as well as trying to strike the right balance so that we're not instilling a bunch of fear and panic in residents. And so I think it's important that we understand what is happening and how we can protect ourselves and our children, our families, without creating a bunch of fear.
But you know, the logical progression is, are you doing enough? Do you wonder, geez, are we doing enough? Are we turning over enough stones? Are we finding are we doing enough, I guess, is the bottom line.
Well, one thing I think is important that we continue to support our residents and business owners. I know in parts of our city, they are seeing a decline in support for local businesses. Chinatown has taken a big hit here. And I know there's been a lot of effort, especially from my colleagues, Councillor Flynn, Councillor Wu, to support local businesses in Chinatown because they are taking a hit. And we have to be careful not to demonize or vilify certain communities because of this concern.
Here at home, diversity is being tested with the retirement of the fire commissioner. It's a department that's mostly white. There are very few women that are in the department, but one of your colleagues, Lydia Edwards, said this past week, while you want a department that reflects the diversity of the city, you don't want someone who's only going to respond to diversity and inclusion issues. Where do you stand, and what would you like to see? Do you think it is important to have a fire commissioner that is a woman and or a person of color?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think there's an opportunity to bring on someone who is a person of color or a woman. I think representation matters within our Boston Fire Department. And the first thing I want to say is our Boston firefighters are local heroes. I've experienced fires a couple of times. Myself, my mom has had a fire, my sister's had a fire. It's a very scary thing. So they are heroes. But we do have some challenges in our department in terms of a culture that needs to be changed. One that is more welcoming and inclusive of the women who are on the Boston fire department. We have 16 women firefighters. Maybe a couple more have been added since, but it's a very low number. And many of the women have experienced feeling assaulted. There's been all kinds of issues that need to be addressed. And so I'm hopeful that our next leader to lead the fire department will be willing to take on these challenges.
Let's talk about Boston schools. First of all, from your own background, you were a Metco student, right?
Yes, but I went to Boston Public Schools. I've had a number of experiences when it comes to my own education. One I want to correct, I did go to Smith College, but I did not get a bachelor's degree from Smith College. So I want to start there to correct you on the record, since we're on the record.
Smart, good point.
But so my first experience in school outside of my parents' home was at a community school. In Roxbury. I grew up in the 1970s, and so many black parents were concerned that the Boston Public Schools was not educating black children, and that was certainly true then. Many would argue it's still true now. So there were folks who started their own schools. Page Academy is one example that's still around today. So for kindergarten, first grade, I was at a community school modeled after the Freedom Schools. Second grade through middle school, I was in Boston Public Schools. I went to elementary school in Roxbury, had a wonderful time, but by 11 years old, I was bused to Charlestown and had the great responsibility of a little 11-year-old girl from Roxbury to integrate Boston Public Schools. So I was bused to Charlestown during the second phase of busing, and then 8th grade through 12th grade, I was in Metco, and I went to Reading.
And you went to Reading. That's where I was going.
And you graduated from
Reading. And I graduated from Reading.
You've been virtually every step of the way.
Every step of the way.
So you understand it. All right. So let me ask you. But as you look at the system which is in the city today, there are innumerable problems. There's graduation rates, the student population dropping, facilities in dismal condition. Is the mayor doing enough with the resources that he has?
So I would say that we need to fully fund our schools. So one example, we look at special education, and we want the classroom teacher to be the end-all everything to our children. And they do a remarkable job trying to do just that. But we can't ask a general ed teacher to also be a special education teacher and also, be a teacher that is going to receive children whose first language is not English. We need to make sure that we have the teaching staff in the classroom necessary to educate our children. So that's number one. Certainly, there has been a lot of progress in terms of what has happened over the years for Boston Public School students. That's great. But still, we have persistent gaps that don't want to go away, and they need intentional focus. We need to concern ourselves with what is happening for black and brown children on all fronts, and not just race or class, but we also have to look at program areas. So students who are English language learners, students who have disabilities, how are they faring as well? So there's a lot more work that we need to do. I'm encouraged by our new superintendent. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that our new superintendent wants to tackle these important issues, that she has a heart for our children here in Boston. It's really important to me, whether we're talking about education, whether we're talking about housing, whether we're talking about jobs, whatever the issue is, that we are lifting up those who have been left behind.
You ready for the OTR pop quiz?
Sure.
Just look at the confidence and the smile.
I don't know. Let's see.
Here we go. All right, here we go. Time for the OTR pop quiz. See, I can show you this part because there are no answers here. We're going to start with a history-related question. The movie Glory told the story of the Massachusetts 54th Regiment in the Civil War. Denzel Washington won the Oscar for that. On the screen, we have some options for you. Your question is, who played Robert Gould Shaw, the leader of the regiment? Was it Cary Elwes?
C.
Bingo, ding, 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 ding,
You've
ding.
seen the movie, I assume.
Matthew Broderick, very good.
But Cary, he was in it too. He was the best friend of Matthew.
Yeah, very good. See, but you were smart. You picked the one, exactly. So, as we've established, you attended Smith College. In the TV series Sex and the City, one of the main characters was also a Smith College graduate. Your question, which one was it? Was it Carrie, was it Charlotte, or Miranda? And I have to apologize to both of you. I don't think I've seen 1 minute of this show.
So I love Sex and the City.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know the answer. I'm going to say it's not Carrie, and I'm going to say it's not Miranda. I'm going to go with Charlotte.
You win. Ding, 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 ding. The guess is right. We're back with a pop quiz and more with Kim Janey right after this.